Okay. Vinny from Sky Sports, there you are. Okay, do you want to kick us off? Can you hear us? Vinny, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, pal. You okay?
Yeah, not bad. Do you want to kick us off, mate?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Robin. Hope you're well.
Yeah, all good, thanks.
Good. Just wanted to start on Marius Jonker being appointed TMO. What's your reaction to that and the group's reaction, really?
Yeah, it was a bit of an unexpected. We only found out on Wednesday. So, yeah, I suppose there's a slight lack of foresight with regards to, there's a reason why that position is neutral. So, there's no sort of plan B put in place. So, yeah, it's just got to get on with it, really.
I suppose, in essence, what problem has he created for himself with that decision regarding Faf de Klerk's challenge on Josh Navidi?
Yeah, we met the three officials who were officiating on the weekend. So, we went through everything that has happened up to date. They're reluctant to really pass any sort of opinion on what's happened. They're aware of it, and they're confident in the comms that they'll have on the weekend, that they'll be able to, between the three of them, or four of them, I should say, come to the right decision. The role of the TMO in that, I mean, his say is pretty final, with regards to the communication between him and the referee. So it is a very important position. So I'm sure it'll be, there'll be no issues on the weekend.
Is there a great deal of confidence that what's gone is gone and they will get it right at the weekend?
Yeah, exactly. It's very much a clean slate. There's consistency, obviously, between the referees. That's what they're aiming for. So we had a good discussion in and around a lot of things that have happened to date. But the impression that I got, really, they wanted to move on, and they're trusting their own decisions, their own communications, their understanding between the three of them. So hopefully that will come to the fore on the weekend.
Obviously, earlier this week, Warren spoke about the intensity of training, a bone-on-bone training session. What was that like to see, and how have you managed training since then and the intensity levels building up to Saturday?
Yeah, it's the first chance we've had, really, because of the games falling, on a Wednesday and a Saturday. So it's good to have a week's preparation where everybody's on the same page. Everybody's able to take a full and active part in training. So it's great to have that level of competitiveness, especially once the team is out there. You're encouraging the other boys to channel that frustration and take it out on the training field, which they did. So I thought they were outstanding, and some of the questions that they asked of the starting team, the starting pack in particular. So, hopefully that'll put us in good stead for the weekend. It's going to be another step up in intensity for us. But in fairness to those boys who aren't involved, they've played their part in preparing the team as well as can be hoped for.
How vital is that physicality, particularly when you're going up against a side like the Springboks?
Yeah, it's an area of the game they pride themselves on. I'm sure they'd be frustrated after that A game where they didn't get any advantage, really, from a mauling point of view. They didn't get anything out of the scrums, and we've got to take confidence with that, from that, and build on that performance. I know there's a few changes on both sides, but it's essentially, it was a test team, essentially from a South African point of view. So we've got to step things up with those individuals and build on that performance. And we won a scrummage. We feel that we're technically very good. It's been great to date. It'd be that was one of the things that we discussed with Nick and the other officials for the weekend. He's expecting a big battle up front, big set piece battle, plenty of mauls that he needs to be officiating on, as well as the aerial battle as well.
How do you expect them to react to the success that you had in those areas at the Mall in the scrum?
I think they're going to go harder, so we're going to have to be a little bit better. So there are certain things that we can improve on again. We need to step that up and make sure that we don't sort of rest on our laurels. I think they're going to ramp it up again and step up that intensity and go harder at scrum, harder at Maul. They've got a couple of key players back for them. That's going to raise their intensity as well. So Bonabi, the hooker, he's got a major role to play. I think he's the best scrummager that they've got. So those changes, you can see that they're going to come a lot harder in those areas.
We've also seen Razzie Erasmus as a water boy. I'm sure Warren's not going to be doing that at the weekend, but also a reaction when he posted clips on Twitter questioning the legality of Owen Farrell's tackling technique. Is there a little bit of needle on the management side that is kind of adding to this as well?
Yeah, I'm not on social media, to be honest with you, so that's not a channel that I express or whatever. Yeah, just leave that be what it is.
Top man, all the best.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Robin, it's Andrew McKenna from TalkSport. There were probably times in the last 6 months or so that this series happening looks a pretty long shot. How does it feel to be so close to actually being at the first test?
It feels great. We get into the business end of things. Obviously, the matchup of the best players in South Africa on the field. It's good to get here, and it's good to get here in a fit on a full bill of health as well. Where the numbers are good. That enabled us to have that level of intensity in training this week. So that's one thing that we haven't been able to do. We've been learning from one game to the next. So we were able to go at it a bit harder this week. So hopefully that'll put us in good stead for Saturday.
Can I just clarify? You've said a couple of times full squad. That means Finn Russell, and Finn Russell was taking a full part?
Sorry, apart from Finn. I'm probably thinking more with my forwards head on than anybody else.
No, that's perfect. That's why I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, sorry.
Have you noticed that the atmosphere around the camp has changed during this week, with it being Test Match week?
In the training, yes, definitely. There's a lot more edge about our training, a lot more bite. Obviously, with Steve ramping things up from a defensive point of view, Gregor from an attacking point of view, and the players taking a little bit more ownership as well. So the session on Tuesday was great because those non-23, they really frustrated the starting team and the subs as well. And that's what you want. You want the players to be asking questions of each other, so that we don't fall in the trap of feeling too comfortable with everything. So it's been good, and that edginess that's brought that different feel to it this week.
Throughout the World Cup, the South African management were telling their players the opposition can't handle your physicality. Are you ready for what they're going to bring? Can you handle it?
Yeah, that's the challenge. The proof will come on Saturday. There's a lot of experience in and around the playing group, as well as the coaching group as well. I know Warren can draw on the experience of 12 years ago when he was out here, and the level of intensity that caught him cold in that first test. He's making sure that we don't fall in that trap again, really. So. As much as we can take a lot of positives out of that A game, we do know that there's another level in the Springboks, but there's another level in us as well.
Can I ask you about their decision regarding their starting front row? There's been a lot of people saying that the better South African front row is actually on the bench. What do you make of that, and what does that say tactically?
Yeah, I don't believe that. They've all got different individual strengths, so you've got to look at how they complement each other as a front row. I would argue whether the starting one is weaker than the one to come on, but it's the way they played through the World Cup with regards to that bomb squad, that mentality of them coming on and having an input in the game. But we've got strength and depth from a front row point of view as well. So yeah, there's an argument and a case to be made both ways.
And just away from the TMO issue, how did the meeting with the officials go yesterday? Are you clear with everything that they want and they're clear with everything that you want from them?
Yeah, communication is a big one, That's a big thing from, especially from a mauling point of view, where, we were penalised on a couple of occasions in that A game. We know that South Africa pride themselves on that area of the game, so it's just having that level of communication with the referee to what he deems is acceptable or not. Same from a scrum point of view, we were, we've had positive feedback all the way through. So don't see that being an issue either. But that level of communication between Nick and the captain, and we've got to make sure that we just go through that one source, through the captain or the pack leader, really, and not sort of bombard him with things. I'm confident, and they've done their analysis on certain individuals from both teams. So it was very much a feeling of, listen, the three of us, we're confident in our ability to be able to deal with anything that happens on Saturday. So we respect where you've come from in the last 5 games. It won't be that much difference, but, just trust that we're ready for it on the weekend. And that was the message that came through loud and clear to us anyway.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Hi, Robin. How are you, mate?
Yes, good, thank you.
Yeah. Robin, Warren talked about a robust selection meeting. How difficult was it to get to the 8 forwards you've got and the 5 replacements on the bench, given the way the players have played on this tour?
Yeah, it was very hard. Without being disrespectful, it's a lot of those games, didn't really test us. Felt we got away with a little bit. It was only in that A game really where the level of that level of intensity was anything near to what we were expecting on Saturday. So you've got to take that into consideration as well. But it was pretty tough. I mean, you're trying to please everybody around the table. From an attacking point of view, defensive point of view, set piece. It was good hour and a half discussion. And Warren was keen to stress as well, it's just the first selection as well, and he has, made everybody aware of the amount of changes that has happened between the first and the second test in Lions tours that have gone in the past. So, it was tough, but listen, these boys, they'll be given an opportunity on Saturday, so hopefully they'll make the most of it.
You've got 2 guys there, Wyn Jones and Alan Wyn Jones, are the sort of various scales of the Lions. Can you just sort of just sum up what they've achieved? Alan Wyn to get back, and also Wyn to get his first Lions cap just 5 years after being playing semi-professional rugby.
Yeah, to start with Wyn, I think he's been excellent. Having worked with Wyn with Wales as well, I think he's just kept on growing and growing. He's become a cornerstone of the Welsh pack. Had a very good Six Nations, and he's very accurate. He's very disciplined. Just been an all-round good guy. So I think he's fully deserving of his starting position. And Alan Wyn Jones, yet again, he likes to prove people wrong all the time. It gives him that edge, that chip on his shoulder. So just thankfully he's been able to do that again. Having to return home and then come back is not ideal preparation for him, but just gives you some sort of idea of the single-mindedness, that determination that he carries with him. And he's been a good voice again to have in and around the squad this week from an experience point of view. Settle some of the nerves of somebody who's starting maybe for the first time. Someone like a Wyn Jones. So. It's great to have both of them.
And finally, for me, Robin, you've been involved in some big week build-ups as a coach with Leinster and Wales. How was this last week compared?
Yeah, I'd be lying if we weren't feeling a little bit of a lack of support with regards to not having fans around, and the atmospheres at the game is obviously different. But that's the way of the world, So, listen, we're doing as much as we can. I expect the intensity will we'll rise again once we get into Cape Town today. We've got a captain's run at the stadium. So it'll be even more real then, that we're within touching distance of a massive test on Saturday. Listen, Warren made us all aware as coaches, that big games don't overcoach, just keep things concise, keep the messages very simple. And in that regard, the players have been outstanding, especially from a forward point of view, working with new individuals. They've been taking on their ownership right from day one. So, just really looking forward to see how we go on Saturday.
Hi, Robin. Dan from the Telegraph here.
Hi there.
Warren spoke earlier in the week about denting the Springboks' ego by ensuring he had set-piece dominance. From your experience, what does the scrum in particular mean to the Springboks psychologically? And if you get superiority there, what sort of knock-on effects do you see?
Well, we saw how much of a part a scrum can play in the Rugby World Cup final, really, where every scrum became an area of pressure put on England, an opportunity for the Springboks to show pictures of dominance, and they had the majority of calls in that area during the final. When you measure, when any team measure themselves on a certain aspect of play, if you take that away from them, or if you match them, or they don't get any advantage from that area of play, whatever it may be, then you're going to take it as a win, for yourself, because the amount of time that teams spend on certain areas in order to maintain that advantage, if they don't get it, then you challenge them to go to a plan B with regards to, right, we've matched you here, what else have you got? So without doubt we can take a lot of positives, from that A game, but I'm expecting them to come harder again in the same areas, and if anything, that'll make them a little bit hungrier as well. They'll rise to the challenge again, because they'll see it as, right, we need to go harder, we need to do certain things better. So we're going to have to do the same thing from our end. But what we were keen to stress to the referees, in particular in the scrum, is that we're not looking to match them. We're looking to go beyond that, really, and build on the performances that we've had to date.
Do you believe you can dominate the Springboks in the scrum?
We're going to give it a good go. Dominating is a big word to be using when you come up against the best team in the world, the Rugby World Cup champions. They pride themselves on that area. Listen, we're going to give it a good dig, to use one of JC's phrases from north of England. We'll have a good dig at it, and we'll see how we go.
And just one more from me. Can you reveal some of the detail of the training sessions you've been doing? I think 97, there were some pretty notorious sessions under Jim Telfer, something like 46 scrums and 40 minutes. Has it been anywhere near that?
We're a bit more limited on time with regards to that at the moment. It's gone out. It's a rare thing to have a double day's training. The majority of teams, they will never do a double day's training in the modern game for whatever reason. Now I know Warren, we've always had a double day on a Tuesday of a normal working week. Now, because of the regularity of the matches that we've had to date, we had a couple of double days in Jersey where we were able to just separate us forwards and backs and get through a bit of work. So we were able to have another double day this week in preparation for Saturday. So Monday was a single day, and then Tuesday was the double day. So we were able to get a little bit more work done, specific work on scrum, line out, in that 40-minute window in the morning before coming together as a team in the afternoon. So that's how much time I was afforded. that's pretty much, there's nothing else to add to that, sorry.
So just one 40-minute session in the week. This week.
Yeah, from a forwards point of view. Normally, it depends. If you to look at all the teams who take part in the Six Nations, for instance, to mind, talking to the players, I'm not sure if any of those teams in a normal working week will have a double day anymore in the week leading up to the test. It's normally, even it's into rugby, so it's quite a long session. What we've found with doing that in the past is that we lose the intensity, the level of intensity drops off. And you can see it from a player's point of view as well, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever the length of the session is, boys, this is what we're going to do. Go full on, go full out. And they're able to do that. You're able to maintain that level of intensity for that level of time.
Thank you.
Hey, Robin, just a really quick one from me on the independence of refereeing. In your time in international rugby as a coach and maybe even as a player beforehand, can you remember when was the last time that you didn't have independent refereeing?
It won't be a surprise to you to know that I got no idea. Sorry, I haven't got. I mean, the one thing I will comment on, it raised its head during the Rainbow Cup, was when this players' challenge came into it. For me, that just raised something completely different. It wasn't a side of rugby that I don't think anybody was happy with. Being able to challenge the referee there and then on the pitch, and it just showed, it showed the worst side of things, really. Whereas rugby has always prided itself on being able to deal with the referee's decisions, whatever they may be. I fully agree with having a TMO there to make sure that the right decision is got to at the end. However, that challenge on the field, it just brought out the worst side of things, really. And I'd like to think that rugby can retain some of that integrity with regards to, listen, that's the decision, live with it, move on. Rugby's always been like that. You don't get that on-field sort of arguments or whatever you call it. You don't get it in rugby. And I don't think we should ever go down that path either. So listen, integrity, etc., that to me goes hand in hand with rugby over all the years, irrespective of whether you agree or disagree with the referee. You show him respect. At the end of the day, they're there trying their best as well to get to the correct decisions. And you've got to back that. You've got to be, as a player, you've got to say, listen, they're trying to do the job as well as we're doing ours. So, just show that level of respect, really.
Thank you.
Robin, bore da, Kenneth sy'n fan hyn.
Bore da.
Siwmor oel.
Iawn, diolch yn fawr.
Fel arfer yn Caerdydd cyn gêm ryngwladol, fyddech chi'n dod mas a wynebu'r newyddiadurwyr yn gweud mae pawb yn iach a mae'r to ar gau, ond os ga i ddechrau gyda cwestiwn arall ynglyn â'r ffaith bod Marius Ionca wedi benodi fel swyddog teledu, fydde nifer yn meddwl fod hi'n angredadwy mewn wythnos cyfres y llewod nad oes rhywun annibynnol wedi benodi.
Ie, gathon ni dipyn bach o sioc wedi gwir pam nathon ni ddeall y newyddion yna. Iawn, mi oedd na swyddog annibynnol i fod, ond oherwydd, dwi'n yn siŵr pam di rheswm dio ddim yn gallu bod yna. Ond diffyg cynllun, yr ail gynllun wedi gwir i cael, i wneud yn siŵr os mae hynna'n digwydd, bod yna rhywbeth arall yn ei lef o'n syth bin, ond dipyn o surprise i ni dim mercher wedi gwir. Mae'r pedwerydd swyddog, mae o'n annibynnol am reswm. Felly, pam dyn nhw ddim wedi medru gweld neu rhoi camau mewn lle i arbed hyn, nad i hyn i ddigwydd. Dyna di'r peth mae rhywun yn crafu pen, ond dyna ni, mae rhaid i ni jyst yn mynd blaen.
Faint o hyder yw ei chi fel tîm hyfforddi oherwydd mi oedd na achosion, mi oedd na un yn benodol wedi codi yn ddiweddar yn y gêm yn erbyn tîm A De Affrica.
Do, mi gododd ei ben, chi, ond eisiau gyfeirio at y ffaith. Mi welson ni yn ystod y Rainbow Cup, chi, bod hawl i'r chwaraewyr cwestiynu penderfyniad y dyfarnwr yn y blaen. Ddim fi oedd yr unig un, oedd pob yn wedi gweld, oedd hwn yn dod ar ochr anifyr allan yn rygbi, chi, lle yn y gorffennol yn draddodiadol, mae rhywun wedi dangos parch tuag at y dyfarnwr, wedi derbyn y penderfyniad, os dyn nhw'n cytuno neu'n anghytuno efo'r dyfarnwr. A fe gollon ni dipyn bach o hynna yn y rygbi pan oedd y hawl i'r capten roed yr sialens neu yn erbyn y dyfarnwr. Felly, hoffwn i feddwl gallwn ni fynd yn ôl i fel oedd hi, a mae wedi bod ar hyd y blynyddoedd. Felly'n draddodiadol, mae rygbi wedi medru codi pen uwch ben hynna dros y blynyddoedd, a siarad a dangos parch efo'r dyfarnwyr, efo'r swyddogion, derbyn eu penderfyniad a symud ymlaen. A dwi'n siŵr a dyna fel fydd i disadwn, dwi'n gobeithio.
Ar un adeg, hyd yn oed ar y daith yma, doedd hi ddim yn sicr fyddech chi yn gallu cyrraedd hyd yn oed y gemau prawf. Nawr bod chi ar drothwy y prawf cynta, siwr dimlad yw ei chi'n bersonol ac o fewn y garfan gyfan, nawr bod chi wedi cyrraedd yr gyfres o ddifri?
Ia, mae'n gwahanol her neu challenge wedi bod yn ystod y daith. Fych chi reit o'r cychwyn, dweud i gwir, pan oedd pob oedd ar y daith, dwi'n meddwl oedd pob yn ymwybodol o be'n union oedd y gyfynion o ran edrych ar ôl yn gilydd a neu'n siŵr bod y swigen yn aros yn dyn ac yn iach. Ond da ni wedi dod trwy hynna i gyd, a wedyn da ni wedi cyrraedd wythnos y prawf cyntaf. Na gyd sgennyn ni o'n blaen ni rwan wedi mynd lawr i Cape Town, cael sesiwn ymarfer yn y stadiwm cyn y gêm fory. Felly mae'n deimlo braf bod ni wedi cyrraedd yma. Mae'n teimlo braf bod ni wedi cyrraedd yma hefo gymaint o chwaraewyr yn ffit. Dim ond Finn Russell, dyn ni gyn sydd ddim wedi cymryd rhan yn ymarfer llawn wythnos yma. Felly mae'r dwyster yna, da ni wedi gweld yn ystod y wythnos wedi bod yn gret, cystadleuaeth am safleoedd. Yn amlwg unwaith gafodd y tîm i enwi, gofyn i'r bechgyn eraill, gofyn cwestiynau o'r 23 sy'n chwarae disadwn, a maen nhw wedi gwneud hyn arbennig o dda. Felly mae'r teimlad o wedi gyrraedd y prawf cyntaf mewn siap go dda. Mae hwnna'n cynhyrfu rhywun, ac os afon fi'n bersonol, fy mhrofiad cyntaf i. Swn i'n deud celwydd, swn i'n deud bod ni ddim yn colli'r cefnogwyr. Yn amlwg mae'r stadiwm, mae diwrnod y gêm yn gwbl wahanol, heb bod y cefnogwyr yna yn ychwanegu bob dim sy'n mynd ynghlwm efo taith y llewod. Ond wedi deud hynny, da ni yn ymwybodol iawn, mae llygad rygbi y byd i gyd ar y gêm yma disadwn. Felly mae'r pwysau yna, heb bod y cefnogwyr yna hefyd yn ychwanegu llais. Felly mae hynna'n cynnyrfu rhywun ac yn neud rhywun edrych ymlaen yn fawr iawn i'r onest.
Just yn gloi orffen, dwi'n siŵr fyddech chi, fel pawb arall, yn barod i dalu ternged i'ch capten chi ac y siwrne anhygoel mae wedi bod arni yn y fis diwetha.
Ydy, dipyn o stori dylwyth teg, dweud y gwir. Felly dim ond iddo fo cael gorffeniad digon hapus i'r stori yna. Mae wedi unwaith eto profi pawb yn anghywir. A dwi'n siŵr bod o wedi bod mewn llefydd eitha tywyll ar ôl cyrraedd nôl yng Nghymru. Ond wedyn unwaith dwi'n meddwl bod y nod yna i ddod nôl ac i gyrraedd i uchelgais o fod yn gapten ar tîm y llewod a bod yna ddim rheswm gen y tîm o meddygon yn deud iddo fo, does a ddim rheswm gallu ddim wneud hyn. Wel, unwaith oedd hynna fel fel gola gwyrdd mawr iddo fo, dwi'n meddwl, i jyst fynd amdani. A unwaith eto, mae wedi dangos yr ochr yna, y penderfyniad, yr ochr penderfynol, un trywydd o ran y ffordd mae eisiau gwneud o. Felly, a mae wedi bod yn ychwanegu'n arbennig ers cyrraedd nôl yma. Yr holl brofiad i lais ac yn y blaen. Felly, fydd hynna'n allweddol fori hefyd. I gael yr arweiniaeth yna ar flaen y gad.
Robin, mawr o ddiolch a pob lwc yn amlwg ar gyfer ffori a gweddill y gyfres.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you all. Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.